Hey everybody, no, this is not clickbait. I honestly am going to go over this. I firmly believe that if it's something that you can financially and responsibly do, you should absolutely quit your job and become a full-time reseller. All right, so we're gonna ship some stuff and throw these, we'll throw things out. We're gonna Commonwealth picker this one, I guess we'll say, and we're gonna talk about the topic, and we're gonna ship, and we're gonna throw some sales in there and so forth. If there's any background noise that sounds like a fan, my computer's rendering a video right now, so apologies if it bothers anybody, but that's what that noise would be if you hear it. It's not going on right now. So yes. Going back 2 videos now, I put out a video about the downsides of being a full-time reseller. And those, first of all, having a bad week, not sales-wise, but just bad week mentally. And I was also, wanted to put it out there because we talk about all the time the benefits and how, you should be shooting for your own financial independence. And some very large names in the reselling community have since done that exactly. And, they're met with the mixed reviews of, you messed up, or, oh God, great for you, or what'd you do? What are you doing? You left all that money on the table. Shout out ADH Dave, for those of you that maybe don't know Dave. He recently went down this road. I'll put a little thumbnail up here for him, maybe get him 1 or 2 subscribers from my measly little channel. But it is a goal of most resellers to eventually pull away from working for the man, or whatever you want to call it, corporate America, whatever you want to call it. Pull away from that side of your life and become financially independent and work for you and only you. Well, you were, in my case, my business partner and spouse, Sarah. That was a goal from the beginning when we first started this. And our story is much different than most people's story. If you haven't watched our interview with Commonwealth Flipper, go check that out on his show. But the short version of that story is I've been self-employed for a long time. When I was younger, I knew very early on that I'm not a corporate guy. I'm not a yes sir, yes sir, I'll do it, yes man. And that you almost have to be that to be in a corporate environment. You almost have to say to yourself, I know that what I'm doing is not the most efficient way of doing things, and I just have to say yes and go along for the ride because I want to make more money, or I want to climb a ladder. And I worked for some fairly large corporations in my lifetime, and I'm not, again, going to talk about any one in specific, but I knew early on that I was not a corporate ladder guy, that I would never climb very high in corporations because of my, I'm not going to say mental state because it sounds like I have an illness, but because of the way I'm wired. I'm wired to say, that's not right, or there's a better way of doing said task. And that doesn't work in corporations. They want you to do it their way and their way only. And so I knew early on that I was going to be a self-employed guy, and I have been for the vast majority of my professional life. Sarah, on the other hand, has not. Sarah's worked for a company, well, had worked for a company for many, many years, and she's only had a very small amount of jobs in her lifetime. And for her to make that leap, I knew it would be an upward battle because I didn't know, if she had that kind of entrepreneurial spirit. However, the way our story went is Sarah just said the hell with it one day and had enough and said, I'm out. And when she did, our world changed. And why? Well, because we took what could have been an absolute terrible situation and turned it into a great situation. And that's reason number 1 for quitting your job is it takes all that stress and all that schedule and everything off your shoulders. There is nothing like being able to wake up when you want. Now, granted, I know everyone's going to hear that statement and go, what? What are you talking about? You got to have a structure, and you got to do this, and you got to do that, and you got to do this. that structure is only made by me. There is nobody making that structure. So if I want to sleep till 9:15, I can. If I want to sleep till 6:15, I can. If I set my alarm for 6 o'clock and I want to hit the snooze button for a few hours, I can. Is it irresponsible? Maybe. But I can do it. I can set my own schedule. If I want to list at 3 o'clock in the morning, I can. Those are the types of things that comes along with being self-employed or a full-time reseller. Some self-employed jobs, I shouldn't say self-employed because some jobs where you're self-employed do require some form of, you're limited in some ways about what you can and cannot do. So we'll just say full-time reseller from here on out. Those are the kinds of things you can do. You can make your own schedule. You can go where you want to go. You can do things that you want to do. And that's part of the freedom that comes along with this job, is that, if I want to take what I want to list, or if I want to take a whole bunch of pictures and I want to go sit, and fish, or I'm not a fisherman. I don't know why I came up with that. That was stupid. But if I want to do whatever it is I'm going to do and work from a lake, or work from a cabin, or work from my tent, or work from wherever it is I want to work from, guess what? I can do that. And that's pretty awesome. So that's reason, we'll say 5. I don't know. It's not really a countdown. I was going to do like top 5, but I'm going to just throw out random facts here and there, and there may be more than 5. So there's one reason. Is it freedom? Absolute freedom. Almost absolute freedom. Obviously, you got to be near your inventory to be able to ship it out at some point. So almost absolute freedom. I couldn't work exclusively from the UK. and fly home once a week to ship things out. Although I probably could do that, it just would be costly and probably not the best way of doing it. But it could be done if I want to ship once a week and have like a 5-day handling time. I could feasibly live in the UK, fly home, ship things out, and then fly back. It could be done, sure. But yeah, total freedom, almost total freedom, which is one of the greatest things about being a full-time reseller. All right, so let's get into why you're probably here. Well, maybe not. Maybe you're like, hey, there's an upside to this? There is. There's a tremendous upside to it, which far outweighs the downside. But, purpose of making that video, like I said, was let's show everybody that there is a downside. We did sell quite a bit over yesterday and part of today. This has been a really good week for us. We've had a lot of success, and not just selling the small stuff, although the first item I'm going to pack up appears to be a tiny one. It's in here. I don't think I'm going to show it to you. It's a couple pins. There could be a slogan on. I mean, it's not like, blatantly problematic, but it could be, because I don't really know what the slogan means, so I'm not going to show it to you. I'm just going to say it's a couple pins that's only sold for $3.50. Those are going to go in a little bubble mailer here, and then we'll shove those out the door. But yeah, a couple pins. We buy pins from time to time, mainly if we can get them in large bulk, because buying pins individually, depending on what they are. I'm sure there's pins, and by pins I mean like, the buttons that people used to wear. I don't mean like pins for hats and stuff. I'm talking about like this is a button. These are 2 buttons. We buy them from time to time, but the only time we really buy them, is there something wrong with my postal scale? No, I thought it was in the negative again. We buy them from time to time, but the only time we really buy them is if they're in large bulk. Or we can get like a box of them for a certain amount of money. Because in reality, that really is the only thing that makes it worth it for us. Because buying one pin for, 50 cents or a quarter or something, unless it's something rare, or maybe like a political pin that wasn't really, widely used, or something like that could be worth a fair amount of money. Like thinking back to, what was that movie with Nicolas Cage? Sarah called right in the middle of that. Nicolas Cage movie, by the way, that we were talking about was National Treasure. And there was the love interest of Nicolas Cage, the lady that curated a museum or something. I don't remember the exact details, but she had a George Washington button from his original election, which I would imagine those would be worth a lot of money. Sure, I'll buy those individually. But yeah, pins or buttons and stuff like that, we tend to buy in lots rather than buy, individually. So, kind of like postcards, which brings us to our next sale. It's a postcard. I know. You're surprised. Oh, postcards. Where is it? I'm not looking through our organization. I'm looking through what Sarah has already pulled. And every now and again, she likes to skip one on me. Mainly because Sarah's in charge of our organization. Because if I were in charge of our organization, things would go awry quickly. I promise you that. This is Southern Pines, North Carolina. It's the Homewood Estate. Again, this falls under the category of, why did you buy this? Maybe it's a popular, I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, let's we already got an envelope. Let's get, yeah, it's already here. You ever do that? Where you're like, I'm going to ship something, and then you pull the envelope out, and you're like, oh yeah, there it is, and you set it down, and then you go get another one. Well, I just did it. There you go. Oh, and my battery's dying on my camera, so we'll be right back. All right, ship the postcard. Battery's alive. We got a full charge. We're ready to go. Sorry you didn't get to see the label come out, but don't worry. I promise you, it's really, really been shipped. I know you were concerned. So, what other good things are there about being a full-time reseller? Well, the simple fact of you are a reseller. Think about this for just a moment. And I know, you get buried and when you live this and you get complacent. But think about what you do. Really think about just the basics of what you do. What do? You take what is otherwise discarded as other people's junk. So what people are considering junk that they've already used, that it's junk. Next, step 2 is trash can if you don't buy it. You are buying this stuff for super cheap because most people don't care. The real people don't care. And you're turning around and you're selling it for a profit. That's what we do. And it's awesome that we can do that we live in a country or in an area or in a world in which people's garbage has value to other people. And I say garbage in a joking sense. I'm not actually selling garbage, but we're selling used things. We're selling like Cabbage Patches, is a great example of that. That's a doll that's been played with, that has been held on to, that has been, somebody's favorite doll, that somebody, just put it through the ringer. And now it's got, it's in the donation pile. It's been donated or it's been sold off or whatever. And Sarah is taking this doll and giving it new life, which is awesome because somebody's going to take this doll and cherish it again. And that is what we do. And, there's multiple reasons why this is a benefit to society and a benefit to the people that actually live and breathe it. This thing would have ended up in a trash can and ended up in a landfill. And instead, it is getting new life with somebody else that is going to appreciate it for what it is and maybe get passed down from there. So you're keeping things out of landfill. Good for the environment. You're keeping people, you're giving people joy that they otherwise may not get somewhere else. And you're making money. How great's that? It's awesome. I'll give you an example. And I know my tangents go, off. But Sarah, and she doesn't advertise this, but, she does do it for a price, of course. But Sarah gets requests every now and again to rehab somebody's childhood doll. So somebody had a Cabbage Patch Kid, loved it to death, maybe to the point where there was some stains and maybe a couple stitches got popped and stuff like that. And this particular example, this was a lady's childhood doll that she had given to her child, and her child put it through the ringer. And she wanted it just to, come back to life a little bit. So she reached out to Sarah. Sarah said, yeah, this is the price for that, so forth and so forth. You pay shipping and so forth. And she put the doll back together. There was a couple pop stitches on the feet, on the knee. She redid the hair. She, cleaned the outfit, cleaned the doll, so forth and so forth. And then she sent this woman a picture of her Cabbage Patch all done. And the lady said, I'm literally crying right now. I cannot believe this doll looks like the day my parents gave it to me. And that is touching in so many ways. And there are many more of those stories that you hear, especially when you sell things sentimental like Cabbage Patch dolls, that we hear on a daily basis that sometimes we get, kind of numb to. So, what you're doing, although people do look at it negatively, it is a very positive thing for the human race in general. To take something that is maybe not, not useful to somebody anymore and give it and be able to provide it to somebody else. It's great. It's almost charity with a profit margin, but it works. I mean, it does. People do, get nostalgic. People do want to have that feeling back of being a child, and sometimes the products you sell do that exact thing. I know when I saw Nintendo's games, re-released and so forth, I'm like, wow. This brings me back. So awesome, isn't it? More postcards going out the door. I know. This is why I don't do. People have asked me before, why? Oh, what happened to your old What Sold videos? Why don't you do them anymore? And I loved them. It was fun. It was a fair amount of work, for one. And I make my living being a reseller, so that's where the vast majority of our money comes until I get YouTube famous and, things blow up and I'm Mr. Beast again, Mr. Beast again, Mr. Beast, and I make millions. Then, I won't focus in on reselling. But for now, got to focus in on reselling. But the reason I don't do my What Sold videos as much anymore is because you get a lot of this. Postcard, Cabbage Patch, and a video. And it gets boring after a while, especially if you watch a channel with any sort of repetitive nature. It becomes kind of boring. So yeah, this happens a lot in the postcard world as well as the photo world. Guy came through and bought 2 similar postcards. This is Fort Polk, Louisiana. That's Army trainees under a sign. And this is more Army training also. Fort Polk, which is tough to say. Louisiana, right there. Both of those sold $6 a piece plus shipping. Postcard world, especially when only selling 2. Can't really refund them any difference when it comes to shipping because eBay won't let you refund under $1, and this shipping would be under $1. So this person's not getting it. And they didn't ask for it, and they're not getting it because can't refund them 45 cents. So sorry. But yeah. So for those of you selling postcards, just know it can become difficult when dealing with small orders. Large orders, totally different story. But small orders, 2, 3, maybe 4. You can do it with 4 because it does come over. The refund ends up coming over $1. But yeah, can't really do it on standard envelope because it's already pretty cheap. You guys ever have this happen? This leads into my last point. We've had these 3 things for quite a while. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that these weren't the greatest of purchases for us. We sold this scrapbook. It's precious in every way. But it's like this big My Scrapbook thing. Unused. In fact, it's so unused, it still has the front page in it. Yeah, unused scrapbook. It's got cats on it. It's adorable in every way. They bought this. This is a very odd bundle, and then they bought this Gund plush. It's like a cat. So I'm guessing these people like cats. Now those two, right? They make sense together because we got cat scrapbook, cat stuffy, and then this. Again, not great purchase, but this is Happy Days box set. Is it the complete first season? Yeah, look at that. The Fonz. Okay, yeah, pretty awesome. Yeah, so the box set along with that, which the box set throws the wrinkle in the bundle, right? Because the box set is media mail and the other 2 are not. So it should be fine, but yeah, isn't that weird? But it's a strange bundle. But all of that, $35 together. We've had those two, actually all three of them have just been hanging in our store for a while. So they got a pretty good deal. But yeah, $35 for all three. Not bad. The only choice I have here is a 12 by 12 by 9 box from the USPS. So that's going to be the way it's going to get shipped. And I'm going to get that box and get right back to you. I'm going to try and cut some of the tape noise out of this video if I can. So, no, I don't have a box in my hand. And no, I didn't ship those three things yet. I will. I'm going to have to go on a hunt for a box. Mainly, and I didn't even think about this, is because of this massive thing isn't going to fit in that box. And so there's that. So, I'm going to have to go for a hunt with a box. Might need to consult Sarah because she likes to hide extra boxes from me. And she's, you know, she organizes things. Next sale we got here is some towels. These, I swear my grandmother had these. These are like pink towels. Mid-century modern. There is no label on these. Somebody cut it off, so we didn't know the brand. We did put Canon ? In them because we weren't sure if they were Canon towels or not. Canon is the brand to look for, though. Canon's a good brand. You definitely want to look if you're sourcing towels. Definitely look. We took an offer on that, or sent an offer, because this looks like an offer Sarah would have sent. Almost for certain she sent this offer out. $19.99 plus shipping. Sarah likes the $19.99 or the 99 cents just as much as she likes the 50 cents. She likes to list things for, $3.50 and $4.50 and $9.50 and so forth. So I'm guaranteeing you she sent the $19.99 offer because I don't do that. Probably because I'm, lazy and I don't want to type more than 2 numbers. That point, you ever accidentally almost sent a dollar offer or something because you missed the point? Done that before. These are just going in your standard USPS box. What box number is this? 1095. Useful box, nonetheless. I love it. So what else are we going to talk about as far as the good things about being a full-time reseller? Boy, that's kind of heavy. We have it listed at 3 pounds. Fingers crossed. Yeah. Just over 2. Just under. Ooh, just under 2. That's good. I enjoy that. It's only going to Florida, so not a big deal there. Let's compare and contrast. Ground Advantage is cheaper this time around. There's no rhyme or reason to this thing. Really isn't. $7.85 for Ground Advantage. It's $8.82 for Priority Mail. But if it's any closer to us, it's more expensive. Weird. I'm not going to rebox it. They paid $14.50 in shipping, so I'm not going to. It's going right in this. It'll get there faster. I'm doing what's best for the customer here. All right. So the next positive thing we're going to have to say about reselling, and if you're watching this video, you're part of it. The community. The community in which, is primarily based on YouTube, and, it filters into TikTok and Instagram and things of that nature. But the community in a large view is amazing. The support from said community, we talk a lot of big game and we talk some trash here and there directed maybe towards, other resellers and things of that nature. But the fact of the matter is the community as a whole is very, very supportive and wonderful. It is a great group of people, and we've made some incredible friends that I talk to daily. And some I talk to every week, some I talk to every day, some I talk to some people just send me funny reels on Instagram, and it's fun. The community is wonderful, and the people in it are even better, and they support each other, and they help each other out, and sometimes it creates a little drama, but still awesome to watch. But the community as a whole is great, and the vast majority of the people within this community, being content creators or even just watchers or fans or people that are constantly in chats and so forth, is awesome. Some great individuals, some great personalities, some really fun people to be around or to talk to. Part of the reason our live show still goes on, is because of you guys. Because of how awesome it is and how much fun it is for us on a daily basis. And, with our live show, it's Thursday and Sundays at 9:30, by the way, a little self-promotion if you're interested. Our live show is just that. It is a group and a collection of people that all share a same job, essentially, or a same side hustle, or whatever you are at in your stage of your reselling life. And that's awesome. And it works, and it's part of the reason our live is so much fun is because we love to interact with you guys and talk to you guys, and even offline talk to you guys. So the community is a big plus, and a big reason why we do what we do is because the community is so tightly knit and so wonderful to be a part of. So another great positive and another great thing about being a reseller is the community in which you're in. And let's all face it, if you don't have any sort of support in what you do on a daily basis and, being able to talk to like-minded individuals, it's very difficult. Being a loner and being just by yourself and not being able to vocalize or even just listen to other people. The community is great, and it works wonders for this business. So, what do we sell? First book of cowboys from the 1950s. There's songs in here, and what is a cowboy? There's some brands, like that kind of brand, not brand like Nike. Yeah. Not a big moneymaker here. $6 plus shipping. This is going to go in a bubble mailer because I'm sorry, but it's $6 sale. So going in an old bubble mailer. We're going to fold it down so that, we get a little extra protection out of it. Oh, this is right on the edge. I think that's going to do. Boom. Media mail. I love media mail. I wish I could send more stuff media mail. You ever look, or eBay defaults to media mail sometimes whenever, first class isn't. Well, I guess I won't do that anymore because ground advantage is over £1. But you're looking at like a $35 bill from the USPS to ship something, and there's media mail hanging out down there for $6, and you're like, Don't do it. Don't do it. You will regret it. Love media mail. We had an explosion of Poshmark sales. And the jury's still out on this promoted closet. We're still in our trial period. But we sold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But one of those 7 is a bundle of 9 things for $45. And that bundle had a lot of old stuff in it. So old that we didn't cross-list them with Vendoo. We actually cross-listed them with another cross-listing platform, which will remain nameless because of what I'm about to say following this. Vendoo. What we use to cross-list, 30% off your first month. You use code Pittsburgh30 and the link. Use them together or else it won't work. Pittsburgh30. Use the link in the description of the video below. Get 30% off your first month using Vendoo. But yeah, so we didn't cross-list them. But 9 things for $45 plus the other things that we sold. So good. And this is over the last day and a half. I don't know what happened. We never sell that much on Poshmark. We list a lot of ephemera, and ephemera doesn't do well. Now the packs, which we did sell one of those, those do pretty well. And some of the more ornate postcards, like, Merry Christmas with maybe cherubs or something in it, those will do really well on Poshmark. But because of their shipping situation with only being priority, nobody's going to pay $5 for a postcard and then $7.95 to ship one postcard, which has happened, but you know, the vast majority of people don't. So some of the lighter stuff and the smaller stuff we don't sell on Poshmark because of that reason. One of the things that sold is this. What is that? It's a, what is it? I don't even know. It's a vintage doll, stuffed toy soldier from the 1950s. And it looks even more creepier because its head's tilted to the side, but it's not bad. It's, put it in a bag to waterproof it, but yeah. Sold one of those. That sold for $20 plus shipping. We've had that for a little while. You know, it's just, it is what it is. Some of those things sell immediately, and some of them just don't. Sorry, bad tape noise. But this, yeah, it's a little, you know, it's not in the greatest of shape. It's kind of dirty. It's kind of dingy. Could we have washed it? Maybe. But with stuff that old, you throw it in a washing machine, it could go awry. I'm going to edit this next part out because it's paper time. I edited out the tape noise for you guys too, just because I know there are people out there that can't stand the noise and like actually spend the extra money for the noiseless tape or whatever they call it. I'm not in that camp. I can handle it. But, you know, I do understand. It is an awful noise. I like the noise. I like all the noises that are made by my reselling business because you know why? Because that means money. If I'm packing something up, that means I got paid. So I'm happy about that. Maybe we'll throw that as an honorable mention. That, you know, when you're packing stuff up, that's a joyous moment because you're getting paid. Well, in Poshmark example is you're getting paid once it gets there, but you know, still means money right in the old pocket, and that's always a good thing. Sold some clothes on Poshmark. I know. Clothing website. We sell clothes. We sold these pants. These are Real Tree women's pants. I guess they're hunting pants. Are they hunting? No, I don't think there's anything super special about them except that they're camo. So there's, you know, no smell protection, or I'm not a hunter, so I don't know what those. I know it's hard to believe I'm not a hunter, but I'm not. I could do it if I had to, but I prefer not to. That's the excuse I'm going to use. These are going to go in this Tyvek envelope because they're a little big for the priority flat rate, and I don't want to use a box, so they're going in this. I know I might get some comments about that, but that's where they're going. Right in here. Am I going to trust the adhesive strip? Absolutely not. They're going to get a little tape action. Sorry again for the tape noise. Because I don't trust that adhesive strip. When we talk about trust, I trust this immensely. That adhesive strip, I believe I could pull my truck with it. But this one, not in that camp. It seems a little flimsy to me, I'll be honest. Alright, what else do we sell on Poshmark? Sold a Cabbie. I know. We haven't seen too many of these. We actually sold two. This one, and Redhead, which is down here. This one, right here. They're already bagged up. When you buy a Cabbie from us, you get a free daily cabbage sticker, which is awesome. Yeah, Sarah sends out stickers and other merch to some customers. Cabbie, $25 on Poshmark. We are going to talk about our next topic, and one that I don't know, it maybe doesn't really matter to some of you guys, but it matters a lot to me. And there's two counterpoints in this one, so you'll understand what I'm saying whenever we get into it. And that is the knowledge. You gain a fair amount of knowledge from this, and knowledge on subjects that you probably would never gain anywhere else. You know, I'll give you an example. And for people in the Midwest, this is going to sound really stupid, but don't forget I'm a West Coast boy that lives in Pittsburgh. And I'm not, would ever consider moving back to the West Coast, but I grew up in the West Coast. So bear with me. But I never knew the Wisconsin Dells existed. I didn't know it was a thing. I had no idea the Wisconsin Dells were a thing. And they're a big thing. And it's a popular tourist destination, in Wisconsin, obviously. But I would never have known that had I not started selling postcards. And there's a vast amount of knowledge. I knew nothing about Cabbage Patch Kids except that they were a doll. Now, the amount of Cabbage Patch Kids knowledge I have is insane. But it's knowledge that I would have never gained anywhere else. There isn't a college class I can take on vintage stuff. And like I said, so that's the first kind of not counterpoint, but the first sub point, I guess we'll call it. It's got some layers in this one. The other thing, and one of the weirder things, is you have kind of a connection and kind of a better understanding of where we've come from. And when I say we, I don't mean me or Sarah. I mean we as a species. So the human we, we'll call it, is that you have this connection to the past. You have this knowledge that maybe people don't even know about the past and the way things were done in the past and the things that people used in the past. Or way things looked in the past. Like I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I've spent more time in the city of San Francisco than a lot of people in this world. And I can tell you that I have never really seen pictures like I've seen on postcards of what San Francisco used to look like. And it's incredible to see that because I know the city so well in my head that seeing it back then is crazy. So that connection that you get from seeing, maybe a cooking utensil that was used in the past, which, we poke fun at because it's funny, to us now thinking, I have a KitchenAid mixer. What am I cranking? What? No. But that connection and that knowledge and understanding of where we came from is important because that's how we got to where we are. So, that is interesting and a cool thing and a part of our lives that we tend to take for granted that most people in this world don't have, unless they're historians, and that's maybe a different story, but we do have that special connection and we get to see kind of how we've evolved. Even as far back as like the 1950s, things were so different. And we poke fun all the time. We do it on a live show. Sarah loves the old recipes from the 50s and they put everything in Jell-O and so forth. But, those types of things are interesting and they are knowledge that most people in this world don't have. So consider yourself lucky. That's a big plus side to being a reseller, is having that connection and knowledge of the past. They say learning from history, history tends to repeat itself, and learning from history has a tremendous value. All right, still on Poshmark and still on the sales. This is the, Sarah tie-dyed this, or bleach dyed it. This is Boot Hill Saloon, Bike Oktoberfest. That's what I'm throwing at. It doesn't have a year on it. I'm not going to turn this around because it's a little risque. So we're going to leave it at that and just say it's a tie-dyed shirt. It's been cut. So, it's got some flaws, but people like that. $10. $10, you heard it right, on Poshmark. Sarah hasn't done that really very much. We're kind of phasing out clothing since turning back on free returns on eBay. We don't want to become problematic again, and we also just want to get away from selling clothing. It's a very flooded market, and I don't know. It's just not something that interests us anymore. We've kind of moved on. Tape noise. Would we go back to selling clothing? Yeah, sure. If we had to, we would, but we're not at the moment. We're kind of trying to blow it all out of our store and move on. But we do have a lot still left, and that was one of them. I'm actually kind of surprised that one took as long as it did to sell. But I think because it's been cut, like in the neck region, someone made it kind of a V-neck. That's my guess on why it took as long as it did to sell. On the plus side, it did sell on Poshmark, so we're not going to get the, it doesn't fit, I want to return it excuse. Well, I'm not supposed to be being negative. Forget you just heard that. All right, so our last reason, and probably what I would consider the biggest reason and one of the best things about being a full-time or even just a reseller, I guess you could throw this one in the being just a reseller camp. And I talked about this as I spun it negatively in the last video or 2 videos back. But it also has a positive side to it. And that is that what you're selling is available worldwide. It's available all the time. You have the ability to sell something to somebody that you don't know clear across the country. And just, again, if you take that basic principle or that basic thought, it's amazing. Like, if we had a retail store or even a secondhand store, we could only sell to maybe a 30-mile radius around our store. And that's it. If it was a retail store, and we didn't do the smart thing and list some things online. But just taking that and putting it into such a basic thing is amazing. I can sell something that I found here to somebody in the UK, or to somebody in California, somebody in Alaska, somebody in Wisconsin, or somebody in Oklahoma. That's awesome. And I could do it at 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm sleeping. That's awesome. And that's part of the reason this business is so awesome, is because we can do that. Our hands-on, our approach to selling things is vastly different than the vast majority of companies. We can make money while we're sleeping. We can make money while we're on vacation. That is not a luxury a lot of business owners have. A lot of them have to be present. I used to landscape. I wasn't making money unless I was there, sweating and working and hurting myself sometimes. And all of that. I have friends that are self-employed and they have businesses that they don't really make money while they're sleeping. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are businesses that do that. I used to be in insurance, and this is that bundle, by the way, of 9 things. There's some Disney trading cards in there from the Hunchback of Notre Dame. There's a book. There's some jeans. It's a very eclectic mix of things, and it's heavy. I hope it's under 5 pounds. And yeah, so that, again, there are things that you can do that, will continue a cascade of money. But, when I was insurance, you had to sell new stuff to make money. And you had to sell it pretty constantly because the back end stuff, it was good. It was great. It was how you made your living. But it was still, I still had to work for it. I still had to sell things and sell product and sell things to people that have already are policyholders to make more money. This is a totally different story. I put things out there and people find it and they buy it. It's a pretty awesome thing if you just break it down to its very bare minimum. So that's going to be where we're going to end this video on, and just say that, if you are full-time or if you're aspiring to be full-time, although it is work, and we'll go over some of the points that from the last video, it is work and it can drain on you. And the purpose of me putting out that last video wasn't to tell you guys, oh, this is terrible and you should never do it, and this is one of the downsides that really is bad. That wasn't the purpose of it. The purpose of it was to show you that despite the wonderful nature that is our business, it can have its drawbacks. And that goes with any business and any job, is no matter how wonderful it is and how much money you make, there is going to be downsides to it, and there are going to be stress. You know, there are people that make millions upon millions of dollars, and that are some of the most famous people in the world. Taylor Swift, I don't listen to her music, but she's insanely popular right now, and she's making millions. You don't think she still has days where she's just burnt, and that she just, I don't want to go out on stage, you know, today, or whatever. That happens, and it happens with all businesses, and that was my purpose, is that, you know, everybody talks about the wonderful nature, and it is wonderful. And I just gave you several reasons. And I left out the dumb one, the one that, you know, is the most important one of all, is that there is no ceiling on this. The sky is literally the limit and beyond with this. You can scale this as big as you need it to be or want it to be, if you have the means, obviously, and the ability to do so. But the earning potential is limitless. And that's, you know, obviously the reason everybody got into this. So I didn't really include it, but we'll talk about it right here. And that is it. That is the reason. So when I say to you guys, I absolutely firmly believe if you have the means and you can responsibly do it, I'm going to caveat every time with that, because I don't want you to just say, I got 6 kids, we're barely making it, I have very little money, I'm quitting my job and becoming a full-time reseller. That's not what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is that if you have the ability and you're working towards it, and that is your ultimate goal, is to become a full-time reseller, you absolutely should do it. As long as you can line up all your ducks and execute that plan, do it. Because you won't regret it. You won't. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to finish packing orders. We'll see you next time. Bye. Oh, like, subscribe, all that stuff. See you next time. Bye.
Good day, sir!